to Tamers Talk. I'm Jesse, here joined by my man Jeff.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Where are you?
I am in beautiful San Jose, California. The weather's great. Sunshine is out. I'm here. Unfortunately, I'm not here for fun. I'm here for work for a couple weeks, and I miss you guys dearly.
I know the studio
locals.
feels a little empty without you.
I know. Tell me what I missed. What did I miss?
Oh, you missed a lot at locals tonight. It was definitely a resurgence of fun decks, kind of like what we were talking about. We saw a lot of cool decks come back that we have not seen in weeks. We saw that we had a couple Beaselmons come out today. I noticed you didn't ask me how I did, and that's okay because you knew what deck I was playing, and I did just about as well as I did last week, even with the changes I made. But I had fun. I still had fun.
Were your changes better?
My changes were better. And once again, I haven't profiled this deck on the channel yet because I don't think it's worthy of a video yet. But once I get it down, you guys are going to get to see a security Digimon deck that's a security control, but it's played with 22 security Digimon. And I know that sounds terrible, but Jeff has seen it.
True. I have.
And
it kicked my ass a couple times in our testing this week.
It's a fun deck. So we'll get into that later. But that's what I played, and I got destroyed. I mean, I still went 2-1. But it's okay. It's okay. I call it the one turn away deck because every game I lose, I would win the following turn. Literally every single one.
That means you're like super close, right?
I know.
Like you're right on the cusp of being where you need to be, and that's a good spot to be. And that just inspires, like creative output, right? And that thought process going, getting that brain juices flowing. So we'll talk.
You know what I might do is I might just post the video that I have now and just post it as a work in progress, and then let the viewers comment. What could I do to take it to that next level?
Yeah, I feel bad too. And guys, if you're watching, feel free to hit us up anywhere you see us or whatever. But like that Galmon deck, I'm always thinking of ways to make that better, right? I know it's on our channel. It's still a great profile video, but I'm debating on adding that Megadramon instead of the Master Tyranno.
Ooh, kill Tamers.
I would love to hear you guys' thoughts about that. So I'm thinking about doing that. We'll see. So might head down to the card shop here tomorrow and pick up a box of BT9 to see if I can get any of those. Because of course I don't have them on me, right?
Well, and that's what we were looking at, right? We were trying to find some locals for you to participate in. So what did you find down there?
So I found a place down here. It's actually like 5 minutes away from my hotel, which is great. They're doing locals on a Saturday.
Okay.
So Saturday, 5:30. Of course, since I'm down here, I don't have a whole lot to do anyway, so that's probably not a bad idea.
Except wait for me to get home and test.
Yeah, exactly, right. And then there's another shop. I think it's like 20 minutes away from me. It's like, I think they're the same chain. I'd have to double check, but they're talking about starting up Digimon. They're thinking next Thursday, so I might be there for their first locals.
Why don't you just move down there and be the TO?
Yeah, right. So, I don't really want to move down there. No offense to everybody down here. It's a great place, but it's not my cup of tea. But I need your guys' help. Let me know in the comments or message me, reach out. You know how to get a hold of me. What should I play at the locals?
Okay.
I'm torn.
Well, Beaselmon won this week, surprisingly. Yeah, we had two Beaselmon decks, and one of them from one of the guys we know very well. That guy, yes sir. So we're gonna try and get his goofy butt on camera and profile that deck because it is a killer Beaselmon deck that throws in some text that you don't see coming.
Yes. I remember because I was helping him out with that deck list because I'm a huge Beaselmon fan. I love purple too. And I haven't quite gotten my deck list down, but I think his deck list is really close to how I would do it. And obviously it's because we work together, right? Like I was able to see what he's done and see the success that he's had on that. So I don't want to spoil it, but we'll see if we can get it up on the channel.
Yeah, and just to kind of spice things up, I haven't really talked to you about this yet, but locals tonight, the guy that won store championships with Metal Garuru X Antibody brought that deck.
Oh, he brought it back,
and he didn't win. I expected him to just pillage. I know he watches this podcast, so...
yeah, we love you, man.
Yeah, but man, we are terrified when you bring that deck.
It's a good deck.
It's so
very good deck.
But speaking of that and how we build our decks, we were kind of challenged by one of our viewers and one of our locals players, and he kind of threw out a good topic for what we should talk about on this podcast. because a lot of people are, I don't want to say inspired, but they're intrigued by the way we build our decks because we're kind of both off the wall builders. And
Yeah.
sometimes we build something cool that they've never seen before and it'll go first, second, especially your decks. You take first more than I do. But a lot of people ask, how do you guys build your decks? And I think that there are a lot of different ways people build their decks. Obviously, just to kind of throw out the easy side of things, we see a lot of people show up to locals with net decks, which isn't a terrible thing. It is. I mean,
Yeah.
people.
Place to start, right?
Yeah, especially the later you get into the sets, right? The more you don't know the older cards. So you're going to start where the internet
And
tells you to
sometimes-
start. It's going to tell you what's good, right?
Yeah, and sometimes you need those net decks, right? Like, I mean, how good of an idea was it that Diaboromon player when he put the yellow 2-cost tamer,
Yeah.
or the yellow tamer in there,
Yeah,
right? Like that was a brilliant idea.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't think of that,
Nope.
So sometimes those net decks aren't a horrible idea. They're great places to start, and obviously, like that's why we're excited about this channel, right? We want to post these lists. We want people to see these lists and take them and try them out and be like, you know what? This isn't my play style, or I would change this, or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, just kind of going through it, that's kind of the way that a lot of people start their decks. Since
Yeah.
you and I have been playing since the beginning, I think that we start our decks completely different ways as well. I know personally, kind of the way that I build decks is I always start from the top down, which is kind of backwards. I think a lot of people.
That's exactly what I was gonna say,
Yeah.
right? Like that's a great way to do it. It's so if you're building a traditional deck, right? You pick your level 6. You pick one that you want to use.
Yeah.
And you pick one that you're going to use a 4 of, right? Unless, for whatever reason, if there's a restriction, in the future or whatever of a card. You pick the one that you're going to use a 4 of, or you'd use as a 3 of, or whatever, right? Like
Yeah.
Alphamon, I know they play a lot of 3 ofs, right?
Yeah.
But, like the Gao deck, right? Like I picked Gao as the level 6. I'm
Yeah.
going to play 4 of this guy. And I'm going to build the rest of the deck, kind of like you said, bottom down.
Yeah.
Because as you go down, it's like a pyramid, right? You're playing the least level 6s, unless you're playing Zoo.
Yeah.
And then you're playing a little bit more 5s, a little bit more 4s, a little bit more 3s.
Yeah.
And having that, idea, that clear picture of this is my end goal. This is what I'm going for. This is my strategy.
See, that's a lot of numbers. That's not how I build my decks. I
Yeah,
usually
right.
start with my,
stick to the
me,
levels.
I like to start at level 7 and then work my way
that's
back.
True. That's true.
And I know that like you build your decks a little bit different too, but the way I build mine is I always start with my 7s.
Yep.
And my mindset is because the 7s and the 6s are the most powerful. They have the coolest abilities.
Yeah.
And so my mindset is how do I get here faster than my opponent can? And I think that a lot of that is built off the mentality of playing so early on when it was pretty much a race to see who could get to their 6s and 7s fastest. I'm still kind of in that mentality. I love the risk reward. And then I was kind of thinking like, why do I play like that? And I did a little bit of kind of like internal like dialogue. And I remember like even going back to when I was kids, like when I was a kid and I was like doing mazes and stuff. And I always started at the end and worked my way back to the start. And I felt like that was the way to cheat, even though you're still doing the same method. That's how my brain works. And so that's kind of, I think that that's how, I don't have a therapist on the couch over here or anything, but I think that that's probably just how my brain works. I like to start at the end and then figure out the result. Even when I used to do math in school, I was the same way. Like I would have a math problem. I would use a calculator to find the answer. And then I would use the answer to filter back and do the problem kind of backwards. Yeah. So I think I apply that to Digimon too. And I know that there's different ways to build decks. I know that you're a big archetype builder too.
Yeah. So, if whatever your deck is, right, whether it's, Mega Zoo, whether it's a traditional stack deck, whether it's security Digimon, right, you have to have your clear goal in mind. Yeah. You have to say, this is what I want to have happen. And this is the board state that I want to create or potentially create. And then what you want to do is figure out how to consistently get there and deliver that results, right? So, for example, Raidenmon, like, because you and I were just testing my Raidenmon deck the other night.
One of the 3.
And, one of the 3. Stay tuned to the channel. I'm so excited for that video.
They're coming.
Like the whole idea is I want to get to this big boss level 6. So for me, that's where I differ from you, right? Like I don't think about 7s. 7s to me are a secondary thought.
Yeah.
6s are my bread and butter. I pick a 6 that I like, except for Omnimonzu, right? But that's a whole different conversation.
That was a different era.
That was a whole different era, right? So, the idea is what 6 you want. Because you're more likely going to have a 6 on board doing the good chunk of the damage And that 7 is almost like when you digivolve into it, like a huge effect goes off one time. And if it doesn't happen every game, it's not the end of the world. That's
Yeah.
how I like to build decks, right? So for me, it's all about what does my level 6 do in this deck, and how do I get to it consistently? How do I make it so it just pops off? Or how do I make it do the most damage?
Yeah.
Right. So that's how I'd recommend. And for me, like I have happy numbers for levels. So, it depends on the deck, obviously. It depends on how many Tamers, how many options, how many level 7s I'm playing that I have to fluctuate these numbers. But I've noticed for me, like anywhere from 4 to 7 level, 6s is a happy number for me.
Well, and things
That's
have
why
fluctuated so much in these last couple sets between the X antibody stuff and then we'll digivolve on this specific name for this amount.
Yeah.
There
So
is
that's
no ratio to live by anymore, depending on what deck you built. I mean, the deck that just hit the channel today is a great example of that. The Magna Angemon and the Gabubond that Jacob.
Anybody.
There's no level 5s in that whole deck because you don't need them.
Yeah, and that's obviously like he had a clear strategy. Jacob, great deck builder, had his clear strategy in mind. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to get to it. And this is what works, right? Like Armor Rush, you really didn't play that many level 6s before Magnamon X Antibody came. I don't think you played any. You know what I'm saying? Like you played Chimeramon, hopefully, for that last final swing after the Armor Rush brought all that aggression on. But like for me, right, like this, as soon as BT9 came out, I was like, I'm going to play Grandis.
Yeah.
Right? Like that whole OTK style, it's a great way to play. It's a fun way to play. But it didn't fit well with my play style because I don't like 8 level 7s in a normal deck.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Or excuse me, 8 level 6s. I don't. Yeah. It's too many level 6s for me. Yeah. Right? Like my Galmon deck that I've been having the most success with only runs 4 level 6.
Yeah.
Like it's so powerful that it's like I feel like you can go from 4 to 7 level 6s and you really pick, your main one. Yeah. And then you pick a good secondary.
And then you pick cards that let you find it.
Yeah. So, for example, like a great deck that comes to my mind that I had a lot of fun building, Purple Malamyotismon, right, from BT8. That was the deck that I spent probably the most amount of time building last set, just because I really liked, Malamyotismon.
The Yukio deck.
4 of Malamyotismon, right? It's a 4 of. Then I picked a good backup level 6, right? And in this case, I looked at Malamyotismon and I looked at the Yukio Tamer that specifies when a Myotismon is deleted. So for me, I knew I was like, hey, I should pick a Myotismon for my second level 6. My second 6 ended up being the promo, then a Myotismon, the on deletion, bring a level 4, and that worked out really well for me.
Yeah, that was a fun deck, man. I really think that those are all really good ways to kind of conceptualize how you want to build a deck. I mean, what we usually do is we'll go on and we'll find. I mean, when there's an archetype deck that I see myself wanting to build, I'll definitely go net deck it for a second and see what people are doing. You want to see a base, and then tweak it and kind of look through older cards and figure that out. So there's a lot of different ways you can go about building decks. I think these are a few good examples of like how we like to do it and kind of how we foresee things. Moving into something another viewer wanted us to kind of do is kind of profile like our favorite card of the week. So what's kind of a card that you've been enjoying a lot this week that you think is going to be a very influential card?
BTA Metal Greymon.
Yeah. Okay. You picked an easy one, man. That's a layup. Everyone knows that card's good. That's in what, 6 of our videos already?
I tried so hard to pick a better card of the week, but for me, this is the card that's been the most influential this week for me, right?
Okay.
So I'm sitting here and I'm playing my Gao deck with these Metal Gray. I'm playing my Raidenmon with the stack where I, digivolve from a 3 up to the Raiden, and I keep using this Metal Greymon. And I keep trying to find a way out of this Metal Greymon. Like I keep finding, I keep working harder to build a worse deck without this Metal Greymon. Yeah. It is so good. It is such a good card. And I think it's going to be around for so long. I mean, the fact that it's a Dragonkin or a machine, like I find myself, like last night, I was on DigimonCard.dev. For those of you who don't use that, wonderful website. Yeah. Thank you so much to the creator. All props to you. I love seeing the images, right? So I'll sit there and I'll load up a Metal Gray and a deck builder. And I'll say machine or Dragonkin. And I'll go through and I'll say, who's a machine or Dragonkin that can digivolve on top of this? Right? So then I was like looking, I was like, Sujinmon. Sujinmon has a when digivolving effect, can send a body to the bottom of the deck. right? And it's a machine. It's only evolves for 3. It's, like 2 color can benefit off the tapir I've been using so much lately. Like, so I'm
No,
like
it's a
finding
very
myself.
it's a very diverse card,
Yeah,
especially
I'm
with
finding
those two
myself.
things. You know what you can even put on top of is a Dorbikmon.
Hey, yes,
Go
yes,
nuts, go big. Just
go
swing for
big.
a million
Yeah.
DP. That's your MO, right? See if you can get
You
up to
know who
that
else is a
30K.
dragon you wouldn't be surprised?
What's that?
Magnikid
Oh,
or
really? That's
Vengekid.
right.
They're
That's right. They
Dragonskin.
are Dragonkin. Yeah.
They're Dragonkin. So
Okay, well,
fun.
stay tuned for some spicy decks there.
But I got to know, Jesse, what's your card of the week?
Well, I added it this week to make my security Digimon control deck. I got to find a better name for that deck. Better. And I took out some non-security triggering Digimon. I took out the 2 Makraks and I took out a couple more. And I
Yeah.
added 4 Wyvern's Breaths, and they were a lot of fun tonight. I think the Wyvern's Breath is going to be a card that's around for a very long time. I remember when it first came out, me and you were both just jaws on the floor because we just had to deal with Lord Knight. And they're like, here's a yellow Gaia Force. And we're like, God, yeah. And we're like, okay, cool. Now we have to deal with this card too. Because everyone was sick of seeing yellow. Now everyone's kind of back and having fun with yellow, myself included. But I think that it is a fun card, and it just gets away from a lot of, especially now, all of the deletion prevention. It's still a very good card for getting rid of like Wargrey X. And as long as they're not using Breath of the Gods, you can deal with Alpha Mons and stuff like that. It's still a very good card. And one thing that I always forget is that if a card is swinging for like 17K for multiple checks, when it hits one of those early on, it's only swinging for 2K on the following check. And for some reason, I think a lot of people forget that, and it would change a lot of games if they realize that they're going to die to a 2K body on the next hit. And I think that, so point of note here, if everyone wants to think about this, remember that when you're playing Wyvern's Breath and you hit it in security, or they hit it in your security, you're weakening that Digimon by 15K. It doesn't just go away because it's more than 15K. So
it even happens with Flame Hellscythe too.
Absolutely, absolutely, 100%.
Checks, minus 6K. Sometimes that 6K is all you need to be deleted by the second check.
Yeah. All right, so those are our cards of the week. We'll have something more spicy for you next week. We got to get the easy ones out of the way early, right?
Yeah, right.
So we had a lot. Let's just jump into the news, right? Because we had a lot of new cards between last week and this week. We finished up BT11. We are all done with I like to call it the meat of the set. Now we just get to see the shinies, because now all the reveals are going to be alt art. So, and we've already started getting some of those. I think let's save the alt art stuff for next week. That way we can just pop up a whole bunch of pretty cards, because we have a lot to talk about as far as content goes.
I just had to mention though, like, how epic is that Gigimon?
It's ridiculous.
How do you make such an alt art? Like, how do you make Gigimon look epic? That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
One thing that I really wish they would do on these alt art reveals is show me the texture. Find a way to show me what that texture is going to look like, because they always give us these morsels of like what it's going to look like, and then all of a sudden you get to see the texture, and it's 10 times better than the one they already showed you.
I don't think technology is there yet to translate, digital renders for cards not released.
Figure it out, Figure it out, Bandai. All right, so moving on. So we have some spice.
We do. Let me talk about the spiciest deck of BT11.
Oh, you're already calling it for BT11, huh? You're already calling it the spiciest? Okay.
I'll tell you what. This is going to be the easiest deck for anybody to build. You ready?
Okay, let's go.
50 card Rookie Rush Vemmon.
Oh, we're already there. Okay.
Already there. Already, you can play up to 50 of it. It's a level 3. They can all attack. It's not like the Searcher where it can't attack, right?
Okay.
50 card Rookie Rush. There you go. That's a deck.
That's it? You're not even saying like add anything else in. You're saying we're just going with the...
No, seriously though, I'm not going to play that deck. But I do want to talk about the whole line.
Okay, well, let's start. So what's the level 3 called? We're going...
Vemmon.
Vemmon, not Venmo. Vemmon. Okay.
Vemmon. Yes, absolutely. So I just want to talk about how crazy that whole Vemmon archetype is, right? And I have to mention this, right? So Digimon has been doing, especially the card game, has been doing such a good job. And, huge shout out to the guys on the Facebook group that can point out all these references right away, right?
Yeah.
That this is a Digimon World 3 reference.
Oh,
right?
okay.
with that main villain being that Galacticmon, with all the little Venmon and stuff like that. And Jacob on our channel and I, right? We're huge fans. We grew up playing Digimon World 4 and other Digimon games too, but Digimon World 4 sticks out the most to us. And, we were just talking about like the X antibody villains, right? Like the X Rogues or the Mecha Rogues, what they were called, right? It was like a 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever. And these guys are giving me those vibes, like seeing the way that it's designed like that. It's so cool. So the Venmon is crazy, right? The Venmon's cool. Play up to 50 of them. It seems like you're going to want, like an EOS deck where you play 15 of them. You're probably, it's hard to guess how many you're going to want, right?
Well, it's hard now because we have a color that, like the Eosmon, we could play 50, but it was all white, right? This is the first one where you're going to get it's a color. So you're going to be like.
You still play Chumon. You still play Chumon as a level 3, right?
Yep.
So this is interesting because the rest of the deck, it's almost like you'd want to try it first without that and then add what you need to address the meta, or address whatever else is going on in your locals or whatever, if you have room in the deck. But like, the level 6 requires 8 of it to be underneath it when you Digivolve to trigger that deletion effect.
Yeah.
Like Eosmon was actually relatively easy to trigger, especially in the purple version. Stay tuned to the channel. That video is getting uploaded soon.
I got it working. It's working.
Where you can get those, you all have to do is put 2 underneath him, underneath the EOS, and then it can delete a body. Or this one, you have to have 8.
Yeah.
So seeing the way it looks now, right? I'm very curious to see how it's going to be. I think it's going to be one of those fun decks. Like, that's what I love about Digimon is they know that fans want these fun decks.
Yeah.
You see the popularity in like Raidenmon. You see the popularity in Eosmon. You see the popularity in like all these fun archetypes that maybe not the most competitive meta, but like someone's super loyal to that tribe, right? Or super loyal to that that archetype or whatever. Like my mommy deck.
Yeah.
Right? Like the Momimons, I love the Momimons, just like I love the Tyrannos. Which is why last episode we were talking about the Mommy Tyramon that should be a Mommy Tyranno, but whatever.
My favorite part about this is we were literally talking last week about what could there possibly be room for. Like, there's no way there's room for a whole Diaboromon package.
Yeah.
Well, there definitely was room, and they just filled it with something else that nobody saw coming. Like they could have easily thrown Diaboromon in there. Yeah.
I think this is the right call. Like obviously Diaboro's fun. I love Diaboro stuff too, but this is a whole new line, a whole new archetype.
Yeah.
A big body black secret. Like I was just looking, like our last black secret. Well, I guess Alphamon, the Orican was a secret, but like the last level 6 secret black was the BG2 Wargray or Black Wargray.
Right. Well, other than the other Alphamon.
And I think this is our highest DP level 6 now, 14K.
Ooh, I think you're right. I mean, without effects, minus effects,
without effects. If your turn, he gets plus, whatever, right? Because that Grandis from BT1 had 16K on your turn,
right? Yeah, it was a big boy.
But
yeah,
it has so much going on in this deck, and the fact that the 6 can digivolve from the 4, or like you can skip levels like that for alternative play costs because the Evos are pretty expensive on these.
They are, yeah. I noticed
but you can reduce it, right, with all these effects. So I think this is a super interesting way, and I'm really happy Digimon's finding these unique ways to play with the deck and play with stuff like that.
I'm interested to see some maybe proxy play or something with it because it's so much that just hit today. It's kind of a lot to kind of take in and figure out how that gameplay is going to work without really seeing it. And it was a lot to just kind of impact, and like we just like had to soak that all in because we already had so much to soak in. I mean, we have Edamon.
Yep. Yeah.
We have Edamon. 2 new Edamons coming out of the gate, and they are good.
So I'll bring back everybody black hybrid Edamon for everybody who wanted to see that just for this. So don't worry.
Yeah, I mean the new Edamons. I mean they support the poop. Their poop support, and not to mention just all the other Edamon support. Because what was the biggest issue with Edamons before? It needed more Edamons.
That's true for all tribal style decks, right? You always need more Metal Grays for Nokia to trigger. You always need more Omnimons for the Agumon searchers that grabs the Omnimons to trigger, right? Like,
but that new the new Metal Edamon on play when digivolving. So either one. Once again, we're getting all these on play / when digivolving, which gives you multiple ways to play these decks, which I love. Reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. You may play any number of Digimon with Chumon, Sukamon, or Edamon with a total play cost of 7 or less. Blows my... Like, it is... they're just throwing support out there for some
Yeah.
craziness. I mean, it's going to be so much fun to see that. And then of course we get a Shoutmon. It's also a Starsmon. We got
Oh,
more and more Shoutmon stuff coming out.
like I
What do we
don't know
got?
where people are gonna fit in the room for Shoutmon stuff. Like it seemed like the deck was so streamlined, and that's part of the reason why it was so successful, or why it's going to be so successful in this future set, right? Because it's so streamlined, it's got tons of great pieces. Like I don't know if you're just gonna get to the point where you just don't use all these different Shoutmon stuff.
Well, you're definitely going to use this new white tamer. Did you see that one?
I did that new white tamer.
It's our first triple tamer.
First triple tamer.
Got
Digimon's really up in
three.
the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's just start of your main phase, place one Digimon card with Exros or Blue Flare at the bottom of it. So you're already doing material saves right to start your turn. Like,
Yep.
Exros is not going away. I think we've established that it's not going to be something like Digiburst or Digizorb or something where they really premiere it in just one set. It seems like this is something that they want to do moving forward, and
Yeah.
that we're going to have to learn to either love it, hate it, but we're going to have to live with it regardless. So,
But what's also not going away is Bogger's Army. It's getting stronger.
yep.
Blue Flare is getting stronger. Those are all fun decks that I'm actually going to play. It'll probably be first time that I seriously play blue with Blue Flare, because I just love the metal gray from Cross Wars. It's such a cool design for me.
Yeah. No,
And
I
then,
agree.
Like that's going to be there, and that's going to be a lot of strong, or pretty strong and stuff. But we get support for tons of archetypes with this. But there's things that I was hoping to see in this set that I didn't get to see.
Diaborman.
I got my hopes up really prematurely when I saw the Mirage Geogamon,
Right.
that we were going to get a burst mode for it.
Oh,
So-
okay.
Yeah, so that, since you were talking about the whole Digiburst thing, right? Like, I wonder if in a future set they're going to bring back, or they're going to bring out burst mode, where it's like a level 7 with a Digiburst effect, right? When Digivolving Digiburst or something like that, because it's called burst mode. Like, has a Shine Gray burst mode, Mirage Geogamon burst mode, Rosemon burst mode. And another thing that I'm also disappointed that we haven't even gotten anything, right? And every time that Digimon Survey comes out, I'm always putting this guy. I want Ravemon.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going on Metamon.
I'm sorry?
I thought you were going on Metamon.
Yeah, yes, of course. But I think I'd rather have Ravemon first. So,
Okay.
obviously, Jesse, you're not as familiar with the show and stuff like
No.
that, but the same set or the same series that Shine Gray and Mirage Geogamon and Rosemon are from,
Yeah.
there was another one of the little guys had a Falcomon, right? And had Digivolved, to Peckmon, to Crowmon, and to Ravemon.
Oh, okay.
And Ravemon's such a cool guy. He's like a ninja. He's got these cool things. His burst mode's sick. Haven't gotten any of that. So
Okay.
maybe
Well, I
BT12,
mean, God,
you
what
know,
it was
it's-
it? I looked it up and I was like, because I remember when I started playing this game, I was like,
yeah,
how far can this game really go? Because like Pokemon, obviously they recycle a lot of their Pokemon, but there's a lot of them, right? I didn't realize. I looked it up and there's like 15 to 1700 Digimon, and I was like, okay, there's a lot of IP there to search from. So I think whatever you're waiting for, we'll get it eventually. I mean,
certainly
they
hope
gave
so.
us a new Titamon, your favorite purple. You finally got a good one.
I don't whether or not this one's better than the other one. I don't know, but this one looks really clean. It's just a nice. It can be a 3 cost. It's got piercing,
Dual color.
dual color, like all this green purple support. Now green purple is going to be a fun little archetype.
I can't wait to see the brainchild decks we make out of this one. This is going to be
having all dual color stuff is going to be insane. And since we were talking about that, right? That option, Meteor Shower, is that what it is? That plays the Star Mom triggered.
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So that can play that new Shoutmon, right? Because it's considered a Starmon. Is that what it was?
I think so. But I mean, I think I'm gonna try it for a purple green zoo deck that runs the Vmon package, so you can still run Megadeaths with purple.
Because it's green.
Yeah, I'm gonna mess with that.
That's
So
interesting.
there's just been so many good cards. I mean, and we can talk all night about all the new cards coming out, but I think we could probably relax on that a little bit. But speaking of things bursting and everything like that, I mean, we could talk about the market, because the market is doing some stuff that was, some of it's predictable, but some of it is just really going through and solidifying some prior thoughts about some of these cards. And I think a big one is Death X. Death X has solidified itself as a very important card. And I mean, if we're talking about how often this card is pulled, how many boxes did we open at our locals at Wayward? We opened
We definitely opened a good number.
over 2 cases probably, and we
Yeah.
had Death X's in almost every single box. And remember, our initial call on this was like, this card's in every single box.
Yeah.
Like, this card is never going to be expensive. We didn't realize that it was going to take over the entire format.
Yeah, and that every deck is going to play 2 of it, 1 of it, 3 of it, whatever.
And we kind of established that tonight at locals, that no good deck that doesn't run Death X goes unpunished. They all go punished. Everyone, if you don't run Death X right now, it's pretty rough because you're going to hit one. But the market on those, I mean, the alt arts are about $84-$90 now, and the regular arts are like over 70.
Yeah.
And we saw so many of those. I personally traded a bunch of them that I pulled right off the gate because it's just like everyone has these cards. I don't think everyone's going to use them. And then all of a sudden, it's just like 3 or 4 weeks in, you couldn't avoid them. So if you picked up your alt arts early, well done. Good for you. I mean, even if you picked them up for $50, you're still sitting good right now.
Yeah. There we go. So now that's the question, right? Are they going to restrict that? And is it a good idea to just double down, get a second mortgage on the house and go buy a bunch of alt art Death X's to invest in, right?
Well, I mean, the market's high now, I think. I think that your moment's probably over to grab them because I think they were around like $35, $40.
You don't think it's going to be like the prices of 1.0, where, the longer it goes, the more expensive it gets?
Well, that's the funny thing about 1.0, though. So it's kind of the next thing I was rolling into. It's like people are going for nostalgia right now. You're getting the nostalgia prices because obviously it's out of print. There's no more being made. There's only so much in the market that's not cracked so far. So you're seeing a surge in prices for the boxes and the cases especially. As of right now, there's only 2 cases of 1.0 listed, and they're about $3,000. Now that's not the market price. The market price they're selling for is still around like $1,300 or $1,400, I think.
Yeah, of course.
But there's not a lot of those left, and the boxes themselves are about $170.
Jeez.
Now that being said, the BT1 Omni Alt Art is still hovering around $68-$70 because it's not super playable. It's a nostalgia card. So people are holding on to the sealed boxes because I think you're seeing a lot more spec in this game. So you're starting to see a lot more people that are going to hold on to these boxes, and they want these to be their first edition Pokemon boxes in 20, 30 years. And they want to retain that value. So
I would love if we can keep this game going that long.
Absolutely.
I love this game too much.
So hold on to your 1.0 sealeds if you have them. I got 3, and I'm not gonna touch them. They're just gonna live behind me and be happy.
Yeah.
So there are just certain things in this game that are stupid expensive, and I think another big one, and I'm not sure how they distributed these cards other than Anime Expo, but the Digimon Survive cards.
I'm glad we're talking about those because I'm finding so many ways I want to use these. So the Agumon on play is really nice when you use it with Nokia, right?
Yeah.
I know it does specify red Tamer, so that might hurt the Nokia choice a little bit when comparing to that spot. If you use the first promo, the Agumon on play, right, in that spot instead. But in my Tyranno deck, right, I'm running that Agumon.
Yeah.
This on play delete a body. I love that, right?
Well, it surprises people because not that many people have them.
Yeah. Well, the Labramon. Labramon's on play if you have a purple Digimon, delete a level 3.
Yep.
I can delete a Lucymon for 3.
Yep. Pop them right off.
Like that's crazy. So there's great level 3s. The yellow one's not bad either, but I think the yellow one's the worst out of them all. I think
like the Falcomon or something like that.
Yeah, the Falco.
Yeah. Yeah, so super playable cards, I think, overall. But as far as the distribution goes, I mean, they were distributed in 3-packs at the Anime Expo. Yep. We got them off eBay that way because obviously we couldn't attend. We're not in that part of the country. And I think that was probably the best way to get them because we got them for around $30-$40 each for a pack of 3. And now the cards are ridiculous because I think the speculation was it was going to be really easy to get them once Survive came out because the original thought, I think, is that they were going to be included with the physical copy of the game.
Yep.
So not only were they not, but there were very few physical copies of the game itself distributed altogether.
Yeah, well, that just happened with Survive.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
I had Survive pre-ordered, and I couldn't get the actual physical game.
Yeah,
I ended up waiting a couple weeks. I just canceled my pre-order, and just waited a couple weeks, and finally they had it in stock, and I bought it online and got it shipped to the door, and I've been enjoying the game that way. But like you said, didn't get the promos or nothing like
I was
that.
gonna say, did you open up the box and shake it real hard?
I tried. Trust me.
No cards
But,
came out of it. So are we going to be seeing more of these cards, or is this just going to be a reprint later down the line, like they're doing with like the Diaboromon promo and stuff, where they're like,
I don't know.
because that's kind of what Bandai does to react to
Yeah.
these kind of screw ups that they do. You know,
Yeah.
it's like they'll reprint it again and say, "Oops, sorry,
It's gonna
here's
be
another."
one,
It's gonna
right?
be
'Cause they're
definitely,
slow.
yeah, yep.
So for those of you who are debating whether or not to pick up, your set, if you're a collector like Jesse and I are, where you wanted the binder, get your hands on at least one, sure, why not? It's not a bad idea, because chances are whatever version comes out next is probably going to be a reprint, whether it's a different background, non-foil, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But if you're building a deck, I think there's alternative solutions where I don't think that either of those three cards are going to ruin your deck.
No, it's not worth spending $200 for a playset of that Agumon when you can just run the promo Agu with a similar effect. Yeah.
Yeah, and if for all those purple players out there, you guys know what I'm talking about. Purple's rooms and level 3 is the tightest out of any color.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're already limiting yourself to 10, 11, 12 level 3s in a purple deck, where normally that's like goes against everything I always say, right? But in purple, that's what you do.
Yeah.
You don't have room for that Lobbermon, and generally you only play 2 Tamers anyways, depending on the deck for purple. If you're playing the Malnotice we were talking about earlier, you're obviously playing more, right? But you're not going to force that Labra. You're not going to force the extra Tamers. So you don't, and then the yellow one, I mean, there's just, you can play Starmons in that spot, which is better, right? You could argue, because, so the Falcomon, I don't even think is playable, but.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with those. I mean, if you want to pick up one for your binders, maybe go for it, or just kind of chill and wait. I don't know if they're not, doesn't look like they're distributing anymore. So. Last big thing to talk about as far as like market goes and things coming out is we got these new premium sets coming out.
Yeah.
And they're going to give us those 2 starter decks 2 weeks before they hit the year LGS. And a big talking point right now is I just confirmed with Thomas at Wayward City Games. He confirmed with the distributors that those premium sets are not going to be hitting your local game store from distributors. They are big box only, just like the gift boxes we saw before, and just like blister packs. Though you're not going to find those at your LGS. Those are only distributed to big box stores like Target, Walmart, and those kind of stores that carry them. So if you were lucky enough to find one, I know they are $60, but you are going to get those starter decks, the Ragnarlordramon and the Jesmon, 2 weeks early, and they will be legal for play. As far as I've seen, I haven't seen anything that restricts them, because they are going to be technically publicly available. So there are some amazing cards in those. I mean, I'm going to have a Jesmon profile coming up. I've been waiting to do my Jesmon profile because I'm waiting for those cards. And then the Ragna, I have some spicy plans for some of those cards in that deck too. But
I love
and then we get alt arts for Judgment of the Blade, alt arts for Fly Bullet, Brave Metal 2 for, you X-Antibody players out there. And then there's also the 4 alternate art spots from the mystery packs that are in there. So I forgot what all of them are. I just know that there's 2 Machine Dramon cards in there. I get the Metal Tyranno. So there's some really good alt arts in there. They'll be on the screen below.
I'm excited for Fly Bullet.
So it is $60. It's $60. So it is not cheap.
I think it's a fair price for what you get in the set. If you can get it for 60, right? Like, it's going to be just like anything else in the world right now, where scalpers are going to scalp, pick it up, resell it for more than what they're worth, or if people open up and sell their extra stuff or whatever, right? So it's a tough call. But if you can find it at your store for 60, I 100% think it's worth it. Yeah. You get the 2 starter decks, you get those, alternate art, Fly Bullet, and Judgment. They're going to look great.
Yeah.
You're going to get those rare cards and stuff. Like, it's.
I think you could probably sell, because you're going to get 2 of the 4. I think it's 2 of the 4 alternate art cards, the mystery ones. Yeah. And I think even if you pull ones that you don't want to use, you could probably put those back on TCG and make at least $20-$30 of your money back, because you're not going to be able to find those premium sets everywhere in the country. I know we're in a part of the country where retail stores have a lot of theft, and so like we have a lot of Walmarts and Targets in our area that just don't carry CCGs anymore because they have so much theft. So I think the $60 price point is going to be a little off-putting for some people, so I don't think they're going to fly off the shelves with scalpers like the other ones did, because even the newest gift boxes that I ran into, I found a good amount of those because they were like $30 around here. So I think that they're priced a little bit higher, and I think that it might shy people away a little bit. But if you are a competitive gamer in this genre of game, I would pick those up because they have some cards that if you show up to your locals 2 weeks early with those, oof.
Yeah, that's a great point. The fact that it's going to be legal, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you're just playing, if you don't care about alt arts or something, I wouldn't say don't stress about it. But there are cards in those starter decks, or the fact that Jessamon makes a resurgence and that Ragna is going to make a strong resurgence too because of those starter decks. So
there is one stipulation with those starter decks, though. They do come in both of them come in that pack. The difference between those and the ones you're going to see 2 weeks later at your LGS, the ones at your LGS are going to have that 6-pack of alternate art Tamers, which includes the Davis, it includes the Ken, it includes the 2-cost yellow tie, I think.
Ken, by the way.
Yeah. Yep. And we get another Izzy alt art. Like they'll be listed below, but you will get those in your LGS version of those starter decks. So I will be purchasing both, but if you see that at your stores, pick it up, tell your friends. If you have to, pick one up for your friends. Definitely going to be something to look out for. I'll show you what they look like below. And then, I think that pretty much covers it this week, man. That's a lot of content for people to download.
It is. So while we're digesting that, why don't we talk about, Jesse, what you got in store for us, man? What are you editing right now? What are you working on?
Oh, there's so much going on in the world of Digimon and Wayward altogether right now. We have a lot going on. Obviously, if you guys are watching this, this is a new channel. But it is, I don't want to say it's blowing up, but we have gotten a lot of good responses, a lot of good feedback. I mean, we're rocking subscribers every day. I mean, we've already passed like 1.3K as of today on our Digimon or our Pokemon opening video. We're getting a lot of good traffic, so we're having a lot of fun with that. We have CoovCon coming up here in the Vancouver area. So this Saturday, we will have a booth and a storefront open for free play at CoovCon. So feel free to come out if you're in the Portland, Vancouver area. We're going to be running some sick deals on all of the TCGs featured from the shop. We have a whole storefront open for free play. A lot of cool stuff going on. Please feel free to come by the Vancouver Mall this Saturday from 11 to 7. Just all the hours that the mall's open. It's going to be really cool. As far as what I have editing, I just about finished Jeff's awesome Rookie Rush deck. So that's going to be coming up pretty soon.
Anyone who wants to play the
Boo Rookie Rush. If you want people to hate you, this is a good way to win and have people
play that. Yeah, at locals this Saturday.
Do it. You're in the scummy meta part of the country.
Man, I don't know how to do that for a first impression. It's Rookie Rush, man. It's like in Galmon. It's my Gal list is so fun. So let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think I should play, and I will go with whatever gets the most comments.
I think aside from that, we're gonna swing a hard left. And I'll do purple Eosmon after that because I like that deck. That deck's fun. I trash it during the whole video, but it's actually a good deck. And then aside from that, I think we're going to be opening a whole bunch of Evolving Skies. I know some of you cross-pollinate and do little Pokemon stuff, but we're going to be opening a whole bunch of that live at the shop. We've kind of upgraded our rig. We're kind of testing proof of concept. I know this time we're going to be featuring a special camera and a special spot on the screen for code cards. So little teaser there. Hit the notification bell now, so when that video comes live, you're gonna be first to those code cards.
Oh, so I won't be able to take them all.
No. We're gonna give them to the fans. Okay, Jeff. You don't need them all. You don't need them all.
Yeah.
But aside from that, man, how many more weeks we got until you're back at locals?
I should be back the first week of October, so I'll be back, and I don't know if I'm gonna have anything new. But I need to get you know me. I'm always theory crafting. So
well, I mean, let's open up some cards from Discord and let's
do it.
Let's have some fun. All right. Well, I'm gonna get out of here, and so are you. And we're gonna hang out. We might play some games. We might have some fun. So thanks again for joining us again on Two Tamers Talk, and we'll catch you next week.